What's happening? What's happening? Good morning, good people. Man, these allergies, boy, this pollen beating me up, man. But I was coming on here this morning. I want to speak to the people, and not only the people, but also our military personnel. I say that because the leader of this country right now is a plum nutcase. You understand what I'm saying? He is off his rocker. Everything isn't registering upstairs in his head, you know. But also just the signs and the responses that he in this country are receiving from other countries. You know, this guy, he doesn't shy away from saying whatever's on his mind, in which any reasonable person knows that just because you're thinking something doesn't mean that it should be said out loud. And as well as just because you're thinking something doesn't make what you're thinking correct. So yesterday, he's not the president of Canada, but he's one of the lead politicians up in Canada. And he sent out a response in which I'm going to post that and let you guys see what he had to say about not only about Trump, but about America as a whole. I'm going to just kind of give you a quick synopsis of what he said. Basically, he was saying how Trump is a bully, or trying to bully Canada. And Canada is not going to stand for it. He also piggybacked off of what China said the other day, as far as whatever type of war Trump is prepared for or wanting to start, that they are ready to go all out with the United States. And like I said, I'm going to post it and let you hear it for yourself, and or you can go and look it up as far as what the Canadian speaker or whatever have you had to say about Trump yesterday. And it was a powerful 7-minute speech that man had given. And he mentioned the fact that Trump, the things that Trump is doing resembles what Putin was doing before he started that war with Ukraine. And yeah, I said it, Putin started the war with Ukraine. Ukraine did not start that war. But anyways, he's saying how all the measures that Trump is taking resembles the exact same measures that Putin took before he invaded Ukraine. In which I understand that Canada, more than likely, military-wise, isn't as strong as the United States. I get that. But Canada is our neighbor when it comes down to countries. Mexico is our neighbor as well. Canada still is, I don't know for how long, is one of the allies of this country. Meaning that if we go to war with another country, that Canada would step in and partner with us and help us through whatever struggles that we may be needing or having. But I say that mouthful because no matter how powerful Canada may or may not be when it comes to their military, if a war was to break out between the United States and Canada, there is going to be a loss of a lot of lives on both sides, whether the United States wins the war or not. The fact is that there are going to be a lot of casualties in the United States, meaning once again, this president doesn't care about us, you guys, the citizens. Only thing he cares about is trying to make this country seem like it's more powerful and the strongest country in all of the world. And that's his only objective. He doesn't care about the loss of lives. So if we were to go to war with Canada and hundreds of thousands of people die because of a war that truly doesn't need to happen, a lot of these ignorant followers of this guy is still going to continue to praise him because of, once again, their ignorance. But also what I want to touch on is that we don't know what Mexico's thoughts would be or actions would be because of the way that they're being treated by this president. They could join in a war and side with Canada. And now we got war on the north side of this country as well as on the south side of this country because of an ignorant leader in the White House. But then not only that, Canada is a territory of Great Britain or of England. And you know for a fact, if you touch a country's territory, you are messing with that country as well. So then not only do we have a war on the north and the south side, now we got war on the coast of this country because England would join in on that war. And there's a high probability if England joins in, you got other European countries that would also join in on that war. And even though you got Russia out there and North Korea out there who may come to the aid of the United States, in which we don't know that for a fact, they could be just trying to use this guy, in which he don't see that. All he think is that, oh yeah, they're my buddies. We here for one another. Are they really here for us? After only being buddy for a few years, to where we've been allies with these other countries for decades, and because of his stupidity, those alliances are starting to crumble, and we're losing the support of countries that have supported the U.S. and the U.S. has supported them once again for decades. And you want to lose all of that to go run behind or run with another country that almost took us to the brink of nuclear war because they truly don't give a darn about the United States and about its citizens. And anybody with any common sense knows that Russia did at one point start to infiltrate a lot of organizations and things over here in this country, getting critical intel and taking it back or sending it back to Russia. And that's factual. But once again, because you have a leader in the White House who only wants to believe in what he thinks the truth is, he denies the fact that Russia was infiltrating our system. Because they were. They were doing things and it was being traced back to Russia. But once again, and I'm going to say it over and over again, we have a stupid, single-minded leader in the White House. And the people that are agreeing with him are just as stupid or even more single-minded than what he is, to believe the nonsense that he dishes out. Because we have to understand that a lot of criminal acts that have been done, people made them sound good, made them sound like it was a good thing. But when you look at the whole of it and the reality of it, it's not a good situation. It's not a good thing. And then you have the vice, or the second in charge is what I'm going to call him, who has the nerve, because he has been puffed up and blown up and think that he's bigger than life just because he has the opportunity to be the vice president, and because the United States is a powerful country, that he can go to other countries and just say what he want to say and think that there won't be any repercussions. Do you not realize that these people are just as tough as the people in the United States? The United States isn't the only country with a military, isn't the only country that has fighters. All countries have people that are going to stand up for what they believe in. And you have the nerve, or he has the nerve, to go over to the European meeting and say stuff that he just feels like he can get away with. Saying that they literally had a weak structure or something over there, to where one of the German leaders spoke and said that this dude is out of line. And he said that. He said this guy is out of line for his comments. So now you got Germany on the fence about this country. Y'all, if the signs aren't there, then I don't know what is. Because literally, this country is falling apart at its seams. We are losing all of the support that we have had for years and years in a matter of 2 months. All of this stuff is occurring, y'all. And then he gets on television, or he goes on his social media channel and post things, and people run with it. But my thing is, you are a 70-year-old person, and you still on social media posting things and saying things that a teenager would post and say. But because, once again, we have a society that's built on entertainment and no longer built on ethics, rules and codes, real rules and codes, not none of this street nonsense, they run with the nonsense. But for our military personnel out there, man, y'all, in which I know y'all, majority of y'all stay prepared for anything, but right now, y'all, we are closer than ever to being at war, in a world war, than we've ever been. And this is the God honest truth. Even though things don't seem like it, but the signs are truly being shown. that we are closer than ever, y'all. And once again, yeah, Russia is one of the top militaries. The United States has one of the top militaries. North Korea, I should say, has one of the top militaries when it comes down to military power, weaponry. Yeah, I get that. But we have to understand that this leader has also rubbed China the wrong way. In which I said it before, and I'm going to say it over and over again, that China has more military personnel than any other military. And so, yeah, we may have North Korea and Russia and maybe some other smaller countries. But when you got China, and then you have all of the European nations, and then you also have Canada, which is our neighbor, and possibly Mexico, which is our neighbor, we are at a no-win situation, y'all. With the three most powerful militaries or not, we are in a no-win situation. Because literally we will have war on all sides, and we're only one country. Those other countries would have to fly in and come in on ships. Mexico and Canada can cross the border and they can go all out. And we have to understand that, yeah, the amount of guns you have, yeah, that makes a difference. How powerful your weaponry is, yeah, that makes a difference. But also numbers makes a difference. And so I say that because I said it before, that when the United States fought that war against Vietnam, the United States had more superior weaponry, but the United States didn't have the numbers and the tactical precision that the Vietnamese had when it came down to them fighting in their own jungles, on their own turf. And so we lost the war in Vietnam. And we had to retreat out of Vietnam because that war was a war that the United States realized they could not win in Vietnam, on Vietnam's grounds, because they were prepared, y'all. Those people were camouflaged, they was up in trees and everything else. And it was something that the United States was not prepared for. And so the only thing that this leader in the White House is looking at is that, yeah, we got big guns, we got nuclear weapons, all this other nonsense. Not realizing when you start shooting off nuclear weapons, other countries have nuclear weapons as well, and that's going to kill off more and more innocent people because you wanted to start a tariff war. You wanted to go into the White House and start disrespecting other countries and other leaders as if they were not going to respond to your ignorance, as if somebody's supposed to be afraid of the President of the United States, as if someone's supposed to fear the United States. Once again, people are people. But when you have somebody that has a superiority complex, they don't see people as people. And like I said before, this guy wants to turn this country back into white America. That's what he means by making this country great again. He wants to put the brown people back into a position to where we have not been in these positions for 50, 60 years. But he wants to take this country back to that time and back to that era, to where, once again, we already are considered second class, but he wants to put it to where we considered even lower than that in this country. So when I say all that, because He doesn't have a sense of people being people. He thinks that because he is a white, rich person, that he can do and say what he wants to and get away with it. That's how a superiority complex works. And so he thinks that he can say what he wants to these other countries, and they're not going to stand for it. Just like the brown and black people in this country are not going to stand for being treated as if we aren't a people anymore. We fought back then, and we're going to fight today if we have to get to that point again. So you're not only creating war on our borders, you're also creating war within the country. And you think you're going to truly be able to survive something like that? You got to be stupid and you got to be ignorant to think that you're going to be able to come out on top just because you got a few $1 billion in your bank account, and you got a few billionaires surrounding you, and you got a bunch of ignorant rednecks and brown and black people surrounding you that don't have any sense of person. Because just because a person is brown and black don't mean that they identify with their race and with their culture. I'm about to jump off of here, but only reason why I say that, I worked with a guy. I would not have believed it myself if somebody just told me something and I hadn't seen it for myself. But I worked with a guy. He was from Athens, a black guy, darker than I am. When I say black, he was closer to black than what I am. You understand what I'm saying? And so he was married to a white girl, in which that's neither here nor there with me. If you find love in another race, then hey, do what you do, man. Because once again, we all are just people. But one day, me and him was talking. And I don't know, I guess he just felt comfortable with saying how he truly felt. And so we started off, because I grew up in the metro Atlanta area. And it doesn't really make a difference whether you're out in the country or you're in the city, I feel. But he started saying how he just couldn't identify with the black girls and how black girls didn't really like him in school. Okay, cool. So then you identify with the white. Then, you get your white girlfriend, Hispanic, whatever. Then he turned around and said, man, because see, I ain't black. I was like, what? I had to ask him, what? Yeah, I ain't black, man, I'm white. And this is out of his own mouth, y'all. I'm not just putting words in this guy's mouth. So I say all that because you have a group of brown and black people that are out there that doesn't identify with their own race. They think that there's something that they're not. We see them, and we see them for who they are. But when they look in the mirror, they see something different. That's just like, I'm not going to get into that, but there's a mental block of some sort in some people's minds to where they don't see themselves when they look in the mirror, or they're not happy with themselves, and so they try to convince themselves that they aren't who they are. And so we have to be careful, because you can't just say something to a fellow brown or black person and think that they're going to agree with you just because they look somewhat like you, because they may not agree with you, and now you fighting with them, So yeah, we are truly in a tumultuous time right now, y'all. It's gonna be a roller coaster as far as people's emotions being involved, roller coaster just in general. And like I say, when this leader speaks, he makes it out to seem like the U.S. is just gonna be swimming in money and all of the businesses are gonna come here and it's just gonna be a great time for this country. But he does admit that, yeah, in between time there's gonna be some roadblocks and stuff like that. But he has to understand, as a president, you only get 4 years in office. So in 4 years, and this is me just using common sense, the things that he's trying to pull off for this country cannot be done in a 4-year time frame. So once again, people who aren't reading between the lines and between the lies that he tells don't see the fact that he's trying to lead up to that. He wants to be in office longer than what any president ever has been, because that's the only way that he would be able to pull off what he's trying to pull off. Because I say trying because it's not going to work. It's just going to get worse and worse for this country. And if we aren't careful, like I said, we're going to end up in a world war fighting against the countries that were once our allies. But y'all, it's just so much I could say, and I could go on. And I know my videos be long and I don't get many people looking at them, but man, just check it out and hear what I'm saying. And let's get some facts and stop living off of this fictional nonsense that we're being fed. But y'all take it easy out there, man. I love y'all, and it's your man Cam, and I'm gone.